we're here for the pattern drafting. So the first thing we want to do now, we want to draft pattern for our straight short skirt, and these are the things we'll be needing. You need your pattern master for the ruler and the curve parts. We're going to be using pencils and biros for clarity so that you can see very well. The pencil is what you should use for your drafting, but because I want you to be able to see clearly, I'll use my biro. Eraser for cleaning errors, and the measurements we are going to be using. So the measurements we are using are skirt length 26, hip length 9 inches, waist 34, and a hip of 42 inches. So this is the measurements we're going to be working with to draft this skirt. So putting all of this aside, I've gone ahead to draft my vertical measurements. This is my waistline, this is the hip length, and this is the skirt length. So let me go ahead to label that. So like I said, this is the waist, this is the hip length, and this is the skirt length. So these are my vertical measurements. So the next thing we want to do now is to go on to draft our measurements, our horizontal measurements. So for your measurements, you work with, since this is a paper and we are going to assume that this place is on fold. We want to start with the front, so we want to assume that this place is on fold. So that means we're going to divide all our measurements by 4. That is, the waist and the hip measurements will be divided by 4. So to do that, our waist is 34 inches. Divided by 4, we have 8.5 inches. 8.5 inches. Then the hip, it's also, hip is 42 inches. Divide the hip by 4, and what do we have? We have 10.5 inches. 10.5 inches. That is, so we're going to be working with this measurement on this. So now, since we are starting with the front of our skirts, so we'll begin with our waist measurement. We'll take our waist measurements here, take our hip measurements here. So assuming that this place is on fold for the center front, that is this middle of the front. So we're going to take on the hip, on the waist line here, we're going to take our waist measurement. Our waist measurement is 8.5. So you bring your measurements. This is 8 inches, and then this is 8.5 inches. So you place your measurements, you put that 8.5 inches at the edge of your paper, and then you take this measurement, 8.5 inches. And then you move on to the hip length. The hip length, hip is 42, divided by 4, we have 10.5 inches. So you bring your tape, this is 10 and this is 10.5. So you bring your tape here, and then you mark like so, 10.5 inches. Because it is a straight skirt, if you want it to just be straight, you can take the same 10.5 inches at the length of the skirt here. But if you want it to be a little bit pencil, you just have to do whatever you have here. We have 10.5 inches here. You take away 1 inch from it, and then you put it here. So 10.5 minus 1 inch will give us 9.5. So put 9.5 here. So take your tape measure. This is 9. This is 9.5 here. So you put it here, and then you mark. So basically you are done imputing your measurements, and the next thing you want to do is to connect all of these dots. That is where your pattern master comes in. You use your pattern master, the curvy part, to do the connection. So now I'm going to go from my waist and just align it like so to the hip. Align it, and then you use the pencil first. You connect connect. I'm trying to make it thick so that you can see it connects. Now that we have connected that, then you take this, you just continue to align it as so, because this cannot go all the way down. Just easy to take a little bit like this, just to continue the curvy part, and then from there you just go straight down to this measurement here, and then join all of them together. So by the time you do that, you have this. And then you have this. So this is our front skirt without any allowances for sewing or for joining. So this is our front skirts already. It's just as easy as that. Remember, this is our waist length, the hip length, and then our skirt length. On the waist, we took our waist circumference, which is 34 inches divided by 4, 8.5. We took that here. And the hip length we take, and that hip length is what we took from here to that first foot of your hip here. For the hip length, we took our hip measurements, and that is 42 inches divided by 4 gives us 10.5, and then we did 10.5 here. Because we want it to be a little bit pencil, we brought it at the length of the waist of the skirt here. We went in by 1 inch. So 10.5 minus 1 give us 9.5, and then we took 9.5 here. So basically, this is our skirts. Now it is time to draft the back of our skirts. The back of our skirts. So like we said earlier, this is our front, and now we want to draft the back. So for the first thing we are going to do at the back is to determine our zipper allowance, our zipper and the slit allowance. Because it's a straight skirt, we are going to be adding slits at the back. So this is the zipper. So first thing you do is take your zipper allowance, and for the zipper allowance I'm going to be using 1 inch for my zipper allowance. So from this middle point here, this is as our center back, and for the zipper we're going to take 1 inch. So from here, from this edge, we take 1 inch here. I'll bring it here as well, 1 inch. I'm just taking the zipper allowance, 1 inch, and then what I will do next is to just connect all the lines together. Connect everything together. Connect all, connect. So now that I have successfully connected the zipper allowance, this will serve as our zipper allowance, or you can just write ZA, zipper allowance. So well, after doing this is the only different thing between the front and the back. This is the only difference. So after getting our zipper allowance, the next thing we're going to do is to just get our waist measurement, our hip measurement, and also impute it at the end. So everything we did here is what we're going to repeat here now. So just that from this time around, you are taking your measurements on this line, not at the edge, on this line. So from this line, you're going to measure 8.5 for the waist, and then you impute it. On the hip, you measure 10.5 from here, you put that, and on the hem, at the hem here you make 9.5, and then you do that as well. Now what you do next, use these parts to align the lines together. So from the waist to the hip, you connect. Then from the hip, just continue that curvy effect. You remember, just a little, and then you take it straight down. And then we are done with the back and the front. So this is the front and this is the back. So the next thing we want to do now is to just add our allowances. So for this skirt, we have not removed the band. If you want a bandless skirt, you continue with this. But if you want a skirt that has a band, I'll show you after this. I'll show you a skirt that has a band. So if you want the ones that have a band, then you have to take out that band measurement from this pattern. But if you want a bandless skirt, you are good to go with this measurement. So let's add in our sewing allowances. So now, before adding our sewing allowances, you know that at the back, to avoid zip bulge and all, we want to create our bum. We want to add our bum to this, and so to do that, from this zipper allowance on the waist side, just take it in. No, we took one in, just take it in by half an inch. On this hip line, you are good to go. But towards this part, just come down from your hip line. Come down by 6 inches at the most. 6 inches, like so. And then at this 6 inches point, you also do that same half an inch, just going by half an inch. And then what you want to do is connect this to this edge, then back to this place. So all you have to do just this. This is just to avoid the zip to be bulging and pulling out. Basically to avoid something like this. Yes. So, and then from this part also, you take it back to that half an inch we did here. Yeah. So this will give the bum space to come in, like to accentuate the bum, and then from just take it like so. So when you are cutting out, or you see how we cut it out. So now that we have done that, I have taken that out of the way, we want to add our sewing allowances. So I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches sewing allowances, 1.5 inches. But because I'm going to also be turning it in, because I'm going to be using a line to complete this clothes, I'm going to be using lining. So I'm going to add another half an inch for turning on both sides, just to make it neat. So 2 inches, that makes it 2 inches on the waist, at the hip as well 2 inches, and then at the hem here we have 2 inches. So we connect all of this together. This out, all these parts are cutting it out. This place are not there. And another thing is, at the end, for turning, if you are going to be using allowance like me, you just need to add half an inch to this lower part. So from here, I'm going to add half an inch. Now, so like I said earlier, if you want a skirt with a band, you have to remove the band from this measurement. But if you want, if you want a skirt without a band, you will just continue with this. So if you want a skirt without a band, all you need to do is add your allowance for turning, because when you're turning with lining and you take that 1/2 inch, it reduces your measurement, so you add it back here. So half an inch here, half an inch, like just take it randomly and connect all straight lines together. It's just the same way we did at the lower part. Yeah. So if you remember, at this waistline at the back here, we took half inch in for the back depth here, but so that it doesn't affect our measurements here, we want to add that half inch back here, because by the time we are fixing our zip, we're not going to be using half inch, we're going to be using 1 inch to fix our zip. Like what I mean is this: by the time we are fixing our zip, from this part you measure the 1 inch and then you bring it back down. So when we are fixing our zipper, it will be like so, like this. The zip is going to be like this. We're going to cut this place out now. So because we're going to still take in that half inch back, we're going to add it back to our measurements here. So just add that half an inch back on the waistline here and connect to this point. So it's not so difficult. Just take and connect it back. That's in the front, because we're not taking anything in for the back. That's why we're doing that. So now we're basically done with our skirts. This is the front part and this is the back part of the skirts. So the next thing we're going to do is to cut all of this out. So if you want a band, just determine the height of your band. Do you want your band to be 2 inches? Do you want your band to be 1 inch? And just take it out here. So if you want a band, you can just come. If you want your band to be half inch or 1.5 inch, remember that this place is the allowance. So just take that 1.5 inch here and just cut it out. And just, yeah, so 1.5 inch like so. You remove it, you align that at the back to 1.5 inch. Take note, I'm taking from the main measurement and not the allowance. So 1.5 inch. Just connect both lines together. So you cut. Okay, but you know that now that you have taken that 1.5 inch out, by the time you want to add your band, you're going to take another allowance to join. So because of that, you add the same way we added allowance here, you add the allowance back here. So now you have going to have to add half an inch for turning. So connect. Continue. So now for a banded skirt, this is where you're going to cut. For a bandless skirt, this is where you're going to cut. So, but for the purpose of this class, we're going to be doing a banded skirt. So that a bandless skirt is not so difficult. I'll put you through when I'll be doing the sewing. But for the bandless skirts, for the purpose of this class, we're going to be doing the bandless skirt. And so we're going to be cutting. Always have your paper scissors different from your fabric scissors. The reason is because paper makes your scissors blunt and when you use your scissors to cut paper for so long, it would be difficult to use that same scissors to cut a fabric. So paper makes your scissors blunt. So have your paper scissors. For me, I have my paper scissors, and then here is my fabric scissors. I will never use anyone to substitute the other. So fabric scissors aside, paper scissors. So you start cutting the back. So we have our back, and then we also have our front. So this is you can see that they are aligning perfectly. So this is the front and this is the back. So this is what we are going to be using to cut out our fabric.